Welcome back to Astrology, Angels, and More. I'm your host, Mary Silvernail, and we're filming today on December the 11th, 2024. We have a very, very interesting show for you tonight. And what we're going to be talking about with our guest is the Star of Bethlehem and getting a very good understanding of that and the background of that. So now I just wanted to mention that all our shows are on YouTube under the show name Astrology, Angels, and More. And if you have any questions about this show or any of the shows that we do, you can always just email us. And at the end of the show, you'll see my email and Brian's email, and we'll be happy to get back to you and answer any questions that you may have. Now, the show is aired on in Staten Island on Channel 35 BIOS and Channel 79 Spectrum on Sunday evenings at 9 o'clock. Now, I wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and a very joyful Kwanzaa. So, here we go now. I'm going to go over some of the important astrological points for the month of September. And then after that, we're going to be speaking with our wonderful guest. Now, first of all, happy birthday, Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the 9th sign of the zodiac with lucky Jupiter that we're going to be talking about a lot tonight. With our guest as its ruler. The color purple is associated with the sign Sagittarius. Tanzanite and amethyst are Sagittarius's gems, very lucky stones for you, Sagittarius. Sagittarians are very adventurous and do things in a big way. They're outgoing, enjoy travel, and are inclined to be successful. Lucky Sag, born under Jupiter. I have a lot of friends of mine that are Sagittarius, and everything that I just said is very true. Sagittarians are a lot of fun to be with and very adventurous people. So now today is December the 11th, but on December the 1st, we had the Sagittarian new moon. And it offered a lot of opportunity for expansion in your life. And especially for us to start looking at the bigger picture. Now, on December the 6th, though, Mars went retrograde, which is giving us an opportunity to reevaluate what drives and motivates us. You know, Mercury is still retrograde, and Mercury will remain retrograde for another 4 days. But that's okay. It's only a time of getting things prepared, and with Mars also retrograde, reevaluating a situation. Now, tomorrow, December the 12th, is the 12/12 portal, which is actually called the heart portal because it's associated very, very strongly with the heart chakra. The 12 is associated with the heart. It's a time of completion and connection with divinity. Also, it's a time for us to be releasing blockages, creating a greater sense of love for ourselves and for others. And we really need that right now in this world. So now, as I mentioned before, on December the 15th, though, Mercury will go direct, and it'll be bringing a lot of clarity and a turning point for opportunity. Now, December the 15th is the Gemini full moon. It's the last full moon of 2024. With this full moon, expect important talks, transactions, exchanges, and bright ideas to come up. This is a time to recalibrate your thoughts and actions before heading into the new year of 2025, which is set to be a year of major changes for all of us in a very good way. Now, December the 21st is the Capricorn season actually begins, and the winter solstice happens at exactly 4:19 a.m. Eastern Time. And it arrives at 4:19 a.m., which is actually the longest night of the year. It's about celebrating rebirth of creation. The days start to get a little longer and the sun begins to shine brighter. It symbolizes hope and the positive aspect of life. The winter solstice has an enormous impact on all of us. This is also the time to be especially attentive to the inner child who believes in Christmas and holiday magic. Remember, anything is possible if you believe. Now, then on December 30th, we will have the Capricorn new moon. This second new moon of December is considered a black moon. It's a rare experience, 2 new moons in the same month, bringing unexpected blessings, miracles, shifting us 10 years ahead in life beyond what you can imagine. Yes, you heard me right. And just think about it. With everything that's happening in the world right now, even with AI, it seems like everything is moving very quickly, right? Well, that's all part of these astrological aspects that are happening right now. It will also be preparing us for the new year and help us embrace our resolutions, closing the door firmly on the past, out with the old and in with the brilliant and shiny new. Remember, it's not what you have on the outside that glitters in light. It's what you have on the inside that shines in the dark. And that is a quote from Anthony Liccione. Now, we're going to be talking a lot tonight about the Star of Bethlehem. And something that I always discuss every Christmas season, and I write it in my horoscope column, which is everything that I'm talking to you about now. You can go back and read in my horoscope column online. I'm going to talk to you about the 3 wise men, the Magi. With the holidays approaching, it brings to mind the Magi's discovery of the Star of Bethlehem, which was an indication of the birth of the King of Man. Many people are unaware that the 3 wise men, Magi, were actually astrologers / astronomers, because back then they were one and the same. And that the Star of Bethlehem was actually an astrological planetary conjunction. This planetary aspect, which we're going to go into great detail about with our upcoming guest, was the indication of the birth of the Savior. This holiday season, give yourself the gift of opening your heart and also opening your mind to new ideas and possibilities, and watch the abundance of opportunities the universe will send your way. Now, I'm going to go over each sign's horoscope right now. And then we're going to really be getting into those astrological aspects of the Star of Bethlehem. But also realize when you hear me talking about for this month of December, what is in store for Aries or Taurus or any of the signs, I'm talking about your sun sign and also your rising sign. So if your rising sign is known by you, you should be listening to both your sun sign and your rising sign, and it's going to make a lot of sense then. Okay? But for you, Aries, doors are wide open for you. Take a leap of faith. Next month will be much better. Travel is very much on your mind at this time. Just relax and enjoy. So, Aries, if you think this month is good, January's even better. And especially then going into the new year, which all the signs I'll be discussing and everything that's coming up for the new year in our next show, where I give the predictions for 2025 in January. So now, Taurus, review your personal commitments and what you've agreed to as far as finances and the intimate details of your private life may be up for discussion also, perhaps pushing you to step up and take the lead. Really might be necessary. Now, let's see. We have Gemini. The new moon in your house of partners means new beginnings in your relationship. Higher ups are also impressed with your work, Gemini, and performance could mean a raise in pay. Cancer, it's time to collaborate to bring your dreams within reach. Love is in the air for the month of December for you, Cancerians. A new partner is on the horizon. Beautiful Leo. Open your heart, Leo. Venus is divinely aspected in your stars this month. Get out and have some fun with good friends this month. Virgo. Artistic projects bring much joy. You will find romance under the mistletoe with kisses and a possible date for New Year's Eve. Creativity and romance abound for you, Virgo, this December. Libra. Rethink how you address others in your environment. Maintain an open mind to relate better. Home and family are center stage this month. Enjoy the love and the attention. Scorpio, money and assets are highly profound this month. Investments pay off nicely, especially after December 15th, when Mercury goes direct. Spend money wisely. However, do not be afraid to reap the enjoyment of what good money planning can bring. Sagittarius, happy birthday again, Sag. It's your month to shine. Oh, what a bright star you are. Introspection and reflecting on what you think you know about yourself is highlighted. A lot of Sagittarians are going very deep within themselves this month. Really, really going deep. However, also consider other people's perspectives in order to bring about major growth in your understanding. Capricorn, health, healing, and recovery are important this month. Leave time to also take care of yourself as nicely as you take care of others. Show confidence in who you are and know your tremendous worth. Try to juggle what you're doing for others and how you're taking care of you, Capricorn. Aquarius, it's all about relationships this month and community this month. Making new friends is lucky for you. Go to those holiday parties, please, Aquarius. Your someone special could very well be there. Pisces, December 8th See Saturn and Neptune turning direct in Pisces, putting momentum in your life. Appreciate who you are and how far you have come, especially this year of 2024. Others are very much aware of it too. It's all clear sailing. And now I would like to introduce our wonderful guest. She's been on the show before, Patricia Brady. She's a professor of astronomy, and she's going to fill us in on all the interesting aspects in astronomy, and then partly what we're talking about is also astrology, how the two come together regarding the Star of Bethlehem. Patricia? Oh boy.
I'm going to come right in real fast.
Okay.
So, well, anyway, until our guest comes here ready, she'll be right back. For anyone that has seen this program before, I'm Brian LaPilla. I'm the producer for Astrology and More. Mary's been our host, though. We've been doing this program for over 5 years now and 3 months.
You're the director and the producer.
I'm the director and the producer.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mary, without any charts or anything, in your view, astrologer views, how do you think the 2024 season year has been from January up until now?
Oh, what do you mean as far as this past year?
This year, from 2024 up until now.
Well, there was a lot of upheaval. Let's face facts, you know, and there was a lot of very poor aspects through this year, especially for the United States, financially, etc. There's a lot going on. But the big good thing is that Pluto has moved from Capricorn into Aquarius. Okay. And therefore, now financially, as far as the United States goes, it's going to be moving in a very good direction. However, what's happening, and when we do the show next month, you know, when we put together everything like we do every year, Brian.
Yes, that's correct.
And we talk about everything that's coming up for the entire year astrologically. You know, I've been doing some peeking into it already.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, I mean, it's absolutely some great things. But the biggest thing about 2025 is what's going to be uncovered. Mm-hmm. And you know, haven't you already noticed a lot of that's happening already?
Yes, it is.
2024?
Yes, it is, though. Yeah. There are going to be like some skids. Many people, many of the signs have experienced, though. It's going to be like another roller coaster. The key thing in 2025 is to have an open mind, though.
Absolutely.
And also keep mind your surroundings. That's one thing for sure that's going to be strong for 2025, though. It's about what you see and what you observe, and especially what you hear, too, though. So make sure just, keep everything at least active, especially in the beginning and also mid-year of 2025. Am I true about that?
Yes, you are, because I'm going to tell you why, Brian. Because we're going to have a lot that we're going to deal with the first half of 2025, a lot. Yes. And a lot is going to keep coming out. However, then, and I feel like I'm kind of giving away our next show.
No, it's not giving away.
Then in the second half, in June, things are going to start smoothing out. Mm-hmm. People are going to be happy again. You know, everything is going to be really, really, really good again. And I'm really looking forward to that. But the first half, it's going to be a little bit of a rocky road. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So is Pat still available to come on the show tonight?
She's still available. I don't know where she is. Maybe I'll go chasing everything until she comes in, though.
Well, maybe what I could do is talk about a little bit about Archangel Gabriel then for the audience.
Okay.
Until Pat comes on.
I'll tell you what. Can you tell us about this angel that we have right behind us?
Well, that's just a very pretty Christmas angel. Mm-hmm. That's not Gabriel.
No, it's not.
Archangel Gabriel is with the horn. Yes. And we've talked about Archangel Gabriel on the show here already.
Okay.
I think I hear, is that Pat? Yes, it is.
There she is.
Pat, come on.
So we're going to just Pat right now. To the
Brian was filling in for you here. We were waiting for you.
Filling in.
I'm filling in, yes.
Were you filling in a long time?
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Welcome, Pat.
Hey.
Welcome, Patricia Brady. As I was saying before, Patricia Brady has been on our show before, and all of us who know and love Pat call her Pat, not Patricia, right?
Whatever.
But she's a wonderful, wonderful astronomer, and she has so many interesting facts to give you tonight.
Thank you for having me back.
Absolutely. Love it.
Well, you know, it's the Christmas season right now.
Yes.
And the winter solstice is coming up on December 21. And I don't know, there's a lot of things. The full moon is coming up in a few days. So we'll get into all these different events, but we're going to talk a little bit about the Star of Bethlehem.
The Star of Bethlehem. I love it.
I think it's pretty interesting because people want to know, everyone wants to know what the truth is, but there's so much to research. And if you're doing research, you can't go by the books. You have to go by the ancient books and tablets that are available. And it's very hard to decipher. So astronomers would go visit the countries and the areas where the Bethlehem, where Jesus supposedly was born. And they noticed up in the sky, you see pictures of it. The three magi came together following a star. But was it really a star? That's the mystery right now. So if we go back in time, we'll see where the constellations were during the so-called star was. And if we could, what some of the astronomers did was find some of the old coins that were available. Some of them were in the museums. And they found that at the time of Christ being born, there would be different time zones and different leaders that would actually print coins on when these celestial events happened. So some of these people that research have found different coins, and we have a picture of a coin. If Brian can show a picture.
That was very interesting. You showed me the picture, and that was very interesting as an astrologer. Yeah.
Well, you know, if you're looking at this picture, it's a picture of Aries, the ram, and above him to the left a little bit is a star.
Yeah.
But is it a star? That's the way they predicted it at the time. They did not have the technology to know if it was a planet or something else. So they put stars in, but they knew whatever it was in the constellation of Aries. So this is what happens. You start doing research, and it just, it's endless research. So at the time, there's another picture of the Earth's axis.
Oh.
Okay, there's another picture of the coin.
Right.
Okay, different governors, different emperors, they had their own stamp with it. So whatever it was, because the time zone, even though history is going by, it's not a big lapse in time. So Aries was still up there during their reign. So you have Aries. You have this thing, this object, a celestial object. Astrologers didn't know about what a star is in a planet. They couldn't see it all the time.
No, they couldn't tell the difference.
So they didn't have the technology.
No.
And also that the planets, the sun, the moon, were all the same thing. same terminology. They used the charts to depict all the celestial objects because sometimes they didn't know how to categorize it at the time. So if you can, Brian, just go to the Earth's axis. Perfect.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, you have there the Earth's axis. You have also the zodiac constellations, and in the center is the Earth. And at certain times, and we're going back millennia, Aries was, Pisces was first, and because of precession, Aries became the major constellation at the time. So it started with Pisces, it progressed into, it started with Pisces and it progressed into Aries.
When you say precession, could you explain? You're talking about the.
Okay, well, basically, when something precesses, especially with talking about Earth, the Earth wobbles over time. We do not see it. It takes millennia.
We don't feel it either.
No, the gravity is holding us.
Yeah.
And stars, even though they are moving, they're so distant, we can't see them move. So the astrologers knew that some of these objects and some of the stars would be cardinal signs. They called them cardinal signs. They were at fixed points. So that would give the astrologers a taste of what was up there in the sky because they would study it over time. So the wobble is a precession. And over millennia, thousands of years, it switched from Pisces and from Aries to Pisces. So this is what we have. And at that time, Aries was up there. The governor, the emperor loved it. So put the stamp on it, put that star in it, and they didn't know it could have been Jupiter, because Jupiter plays a big part in astrology.
They didn't oh yeah. Jupiter's the luckiest planet of all, astrologically,
The ruler of Sagittarius,
Yes.
too. So I don't have too many notes, but let's see. We go into the coins. Different kings have come and gone, and the timeline isn't exact. Okay, it's not exact yet, and it still isn't. It's still a mystery star. But during certain events, Jupiter was eclipsed by Aries. There was something going on. These big celestial events happened, and the astrologers knew something was coming, like the Messiah, the birth of a king.
Well, the conjunction you're talking about is actually a Jupiter and Saturn, right?
Well,
And
Jupiter, Saturn, and the constellation of Aries is in the background.
Yeah.
And now, when you look at the horoscope, you can see it. We can talk about that, but the main thing, the conjunctions of the sun, the moon, Aries is this constellation, in the constellation of Aries. You can see on that horoscope that they're making a prominent event coming up.
Yeah, and wasn't there, from some of the research that I did, a triple conjunction of Jupiter and Venus? Yeah, they
Venus.
saw it happen 3 times. Yeah, I mean, I can understand why they knew something big was going to come, I mean, just as an astrologer, if I see that in someone's chart, I'm going to, wow.
Yeah, Venus was very strong with in conjunction with Jupiter, especially. But when some of these planets and some of these events start to occult, get hidden, that tipped off the astrologers that they knew something was about to happen.
Yeah.
So during those times, they would prepare. Some kings would say, they would welcome the Messiah, but other kings would be threatened because
Right.
of a takeover. So, and it's unfortunate that, that Jesus was killed, by some of these apostles, the apostle Judas, portraying him because they started a search for Jesus at the time. But the event happened, and the coins were the signal of some of these events happening.
I love that one coin with the ram, Aries, and then the star. That is amazing.
And over time, that Aries was still there. There was a crescent moon, and the star was in front of it, so it was occulting. So it's very important. It's very tedious, and the stories go on and on. It happened. But how did the Magi actually follow the star? How did they know which way to go? Ancient astrologers, from one point of view, said it came from the east. But with technology, the star, no matter where you are, it can come in from the north, south, east or west, and the three met at different points. They came from different areas. So they didn't know that, the astrologers. They didn't have the equipment to start looking into these areas. But through research, you can see how these people came and met at the time. Was it a star? They don't know. Could it have been a star? All I know is that Jupiter and Venus had a lot to say with that event.
Yes. Yes.
So if we can just look at a chart to see,
Yes.
some of the words are like a trine, good things happening.
Trines are great.
And like Caesar and Alexandria, these people had trines in their chart. And when they were born into it. The astrologers knew.
Well, even people that are born today, if they have trines or a grand trine in their stars, they're going to be very well off in life. They're going to have, right? Because it's all the aspects, depending upon the aspects in your birth chart. So, what about,
I'm looking at some of the
look at
notes
chart?
that was
Okay.
scattered.
Okay.
was
You
scattered.
said you wanted to look at one of the charts that we gave
Oh, yeah, we
Brian?
can do that. We'll look at the chart. Give us one of the charts, and we can try to analyze. Oh, and this is a photo of the heavens. And at a certain time, Leo was visible. And Regulus is one of the stars that's the major star in Leo. That also involves Sirius, the dog star. Okay, that's at the foot of Orion. So that was a signal that the season was very warm.
Yeah, and you can see, actually on there, if the audience goes up close to their TV, up to the screen, they would be able to see the conjunction of Jupiter and Regulus, right?
Absolutely.
Which plays a big part in all of this, and Venus and Mercury, and so
So that signaled divine and a person in power, the combination of astronomy, astrology, and history brings all these events together.
There's actually a quote in the Bible in Revelations 12:1 that says, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars," which you can see this in the actual picture there of the heavens. So I imagine,
But at that time, there wasn't the technology that we see.
no.
They would have to go opposite at the nighttime and then really do their interpretation of the daytime.
Right. So wouldn't that be confirming it though? Because if that was in Revelations in the Bible, they were predicting and that there would be, and like the confirmation of. Isn't that true?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That solidifies that.
But I think Brian has another chart. He has, which one did you prefer? The pink one, Pat, of the astrological chart?
Let's see if we could bring that up. Do a little astrology.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, so there's a lot of things happening there, and you see where the sun is. That's basically where it's rising. There are a lot of planets, and together conjuncting. That would signal at the time of birth that there is a leader that's born.
Yeah. That's a huge stellium of planets.
The stellium is what you use. Sometimes it's on the other side. Sometimes it's down at the bottom, at the southern part. It's called like a bowl, a gathering of all planets.
That powerful energy. Yeah.
So,
Which shows the conjunctions also that you were referring to before.
and everything was combined. Even the sun, the moon, they were all in it together. Mm-hmm. So that's a very powerful person. If you're an astrologer and you see something like that, you say, "Oh,
Whoa, right? I know.
this one is something's going to happen. Something good is going to happen."
Very powerful. Yes.
Okay, and you have Neptune at the other side. I don't know if it's opposite and Mars, but Mars is in it too. So Mars always portends sometimes there's wars with Mars, and if Venus is up there somewhere, and it is, it's almost opposite. It's not directly opposite.
It's in the first house. It's the last planet
Yep.
down on the left there.
And there's
Conjunct
Mars.
Saturn, the moon, sun, Jupiter, all the way up. Uranus, Mercury. Yeah.
So you have the houses, different parts of the natal horoscope. And what astrologers' job is to do is try to see what the aspects are during the time of birth. This one, if it's back then in time, they can tell. And, the astrologers did this by sight. I don't know how they could have done it, but they did it by sight.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And a lot of these, like you have Jupiter, the Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn in Aries at the northern part. That is a major trine. What is that? A super trine?
Yeah. A grand trine.
The grand trine.
Grand trine.
Yep. And Aries at the time represented Judah, and that's where this all started. But once Jupiter is in position, a lot of things happen. If you can think of Jupiter moving over in time, and I don't know, Brian, do we have the retrograde photo? I could show some of the... No? Okay. Yeah. Well, what happens is you have the sun, you have Mercury, Venus, Earth in order. Then you have Mars and Jupiter. Jupiter does tend to advance, but because the Earth is rotating and revolving around the sun, that Jupiter is like seen backwards. So it's retrograde. It's like a backwards motion. Mm-hmm. And it's in astronomy books. We use that in astronomy. We use the same type of words, vocabulary words, because the astrologers were first. You can't get away with it.
Well, astrologers, they back then at the time of the birth of our Lord Jesus, they were one and the same, astrologers and astronomers.
And also scientists, researchers. Mm-hmm. They came in from Babylonia, all parts, Greece. And eventually they moved to Rome because there were a lot of wars going on. It doesn't end.
No.
History repeats good times and bad times. But at the time, there was peace, but the kings and the rulers knew something was going to happen. So the scientists and the astrologers fled to Rome.
Well, one of the things when I was doing some research on this after you and I were talking earlier today, it says there was a triple conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, which right away, just knowing that.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is Jupiter was going retrograde and then would go direct. And is this how they were conjuncting three
could.
times like that?
It could.
It's the only thing that I can really think of.
One of the planets is slower. Saturn is slower. And Jupiter, if it's ahead and then Saturn moves in, it
and then the retrograde and then the direct, and so it's understandable how that could happen, but that's unusual. That's extremely unusual, Saturn and Jupiter conjuncting like that 3 times in a row. I mean, that's a major event.
Especially the outer planets, because it takes a long time for both planets to move, to revolve around the sun.
Yeah, well, 29 years for Saturn and 12 to 13 years for Jupiter.
Yeah, that's why, at the different types of, cycles, it goes into deep, as far as the age and what people have accomplished and what they have accomplished and what they should have accomplished. So if someone is well-to-do and is happy, they've accomplished, and usually it's about 65 years old. That's where it starts. Most people have a lot of regrets, and especially when it comes to Jupiter, because that's the mark of when either you did what you had to do in this lifetime, and the regret comes in. So it depends on the person. If they have done what they wanted to do in their time of birth, then it's okay. But a lot of people have regrets. You go back in time and, I should have done this. I could have did that better.
Because we have free will. We are always making decisions, But I know, like with the Saturn return in a person's chart, it happens the first time at 29 years old, approximately 29, and it leads up to it, the latter part of your 20s. And you know how people will say, well, a person really doesn't mature until they're in their 30s, right? And then the second Saturn return is at 58. And so I have noticed by what the readings that I do, that a person, when they're around that period of time, major shifts happen in their life. Like their whole life can change in a matter of like a couple of years. I mean, completely. Like they look different. They're working at something different. So the Saturn returns are very, very interesting.
And also that represents health-wise too.
Yes.
As we all get older, things happen.
Yeah.
But in the early stages, the family is important, and then families split apart, the kids grow up, and you're either making it or breaking it at those early stages. So then the health kicks in all the time, like I said.
Yeah.
Saturn's tough with bones and
Backs.
absolutely the spines.
A poor aspect of Saturn.
Astrologers can see it because if they know where, even in Capricorn, that's the ruling planet, a lot of people, I know Capricorn people, and their bones hurt, their teeth hurt, they're going to the doctor, and it's always a worry with them,
Especially if it's poorly aspected.
Correct,
Yeah.
and that's in the chart itself, so astrologers can see that.
Everything's in the chart. It's all in your stars.
I agree.
And the astronomers, astrologers back in the day of our Lord, they knew that because that's how they predicted the birth of Jesus.
Yes, I agree
Wow.
with that. But it just, they didn't have all the angles. They didn't know if it was why it was the right star or the right celestial object. They didn't know it. Because if you see Jupiter in the sky, you could think maybe it's a star.
Yeah,
They didn't know,
that's right.
but they could tell. A lot of times the shepherds would be watching the herds of sheep,
Yes.
and they were up all night because they had to protect the sheep in case the wolves come or the predators come. And they could see that they weren't regular stars. They were more of I don't know, like an event shining right at them at the time.
Yeah, and just think, I mean, considering the fact there was no pollution then. So imagine the heavens, what you could see. Because I know myself when we go up to the mountains up by Syracuse, where my husband's family is from. And when we're up there at night, oh my goodness, it looks completely different. I love it up in looking at the sky because you could see all the stars so clearly,
And also, it's very confusing. Once that sun goes down, you have the twilights of nautical twilight that you can see the constellations. They're very visible. And if you're in the north, you can see Orion and some of the opposite of the time when you're viewing it. Those zodiac constellations are up there. So that's okay. And you can follow, like, the circumpolar constellations. You're in the north. I can see Cepheus. That's the king's house. I can see the queen, Cassiopeia. I can see Draco the dragon. I know where it is.
Of course you do. You're an astronomer. Of course you do.
It's a hard thing, though, to see the Little Dipper, where Polaris is. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't find it. But through the scope, you could see it.
Yes.
You have to follow the Big Dipper. It's amazing what you can see, but it gets darker, and all the stars and all the celestial objects come out. So I was upstate one time, and I knew there was an event coming up, and I could see the constellations, no problem. But it got darker, and the constellations disappeared, and I got lost. I didn't know where the event was taking place. I had to call an astronomer. He says, Pat, it's hard to see. There's too many. It's cluttered with stars. Upstate, there's millions of stars.
Yes.
So...
Yeah, the skies are just beautiful up there.
Yeah, you know, Milky Way is up there. If you have binoculars, you can see Jupiter. You can see some of the Galilean satellites. Can you imagine being Galileo and he invents these lenses together, and he sees, he loved looking at the sun.
Yeah.
Sunspots. He eventually went blind, but he loved the features of the moon, so he was in good standing with the king. And then Jupiter, and he followed the dancing satellites of Jupiter, and he put it in his journal, and that's history. That's what we go by now.
Yes.
He was very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely important. But I mean, for this Christmas season, it's pretty important for a person to have a better understanding about the Star of Bethlehem, especially for Christians, that they realize it isn't just that, there's this star that was out there, that it was there's this whole history about it, and configurations, planetary configurations. And what about Regulus?
Well, Regulus is the major star in Leo. Mm-hmm. And at a certain time, you could see it. It's there. It's a red star. It's a giant. And, the astrologers saw it. They knew it because they could find Leo. And if it's at a certain time where some of the other events are happening. If Jupiter happened to be there, or Venus, at a certain time when Venus is rising or setting, Jupiter or Saturn is visible. Again, those are the events. But they knew. They just knew they went by the constellations.
Well, Regulus in Leo, in that constellation, Leo represents the king.
That's right. He's represented the king of the jungle now. And back then, once they saw Leo, they knew a leader was coming. So
A leader.
a leader, and a Leo,
Yeah.
same thing.
Yes.
So Leo is very important.
And you were going to talk a little bit about the moons before. Remember we were
Okay.
talking about, because
Okay.
you had the Yule moon. You were,
Okay, so I'm just going to briefly. Time is flying by.
yeah, that's why I was looking at that.
I'll start with January is the wolf moon. Okay, it's a full moon. When that moon comes up, now we're talking to indigenous people. This is the time where the wolves would howl because they would be hungry. So that's the indigenous people said, okay, we'll name it the wolf moon. February's the snow moon. That's the time where it snows a lot. It snows a lot in the north. Every once in a while we get our storms. And in March, you have the worm moon. The ground starts to soften up. The worms come up, and now it's time for planting. April is the pink moon. The moon light is like pinkish,
I love that.
and flowers start to bloom. It leads into May, the flower moon. This is where all the flowers are really in bloom in certain areas of the world. Let's see, June, strawberry moon. You go to the grocery store, you can get tons of strawberries.
Right.
That's when the strawberries are ripe.
Makes sense, right?
July is the buck moon. Okay, that's the time where the deer and the antelope, their horns start to grow. So they start fighting each other. You know, they want to mate with the others, and this is their time to go at it. August is sturgeon moon. That's the fish upstate, certain areas in the north. Sturgeon's a fish. There's plenty of them. This is when the indigenous people said, "Okay, we're going to name the moon after this." A lot of fish, a lot of eating. September, harvest moon. You see it. Go to New Jersey. You go to different parts of the country. Corn, wheat. A lot of these different plants that we get in the supermarket, they start to ripen, and they're picked, and they're in our grocery store. October, the hunter's moon. Okay, this is when the indigenous people would hunt for food. So they would hunt different animals.
Get
but
ready for the winter.
they have to eat.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it for fun. They did it, the moon would shine, and the animals were at rest so they could hunt in peace. And they always offered the spirits up to the gods when they did hunt.
And they used every single part of the animal for their own survival. The Native American people don't believe in wasting, That's why even their teepees were made of the buck skin and all of that, right? They wore the clothing from the skin.
Absolutely, absolutely.
They didn't waste it.
So they hunted for food, and that brought us to the beaver moon. That's when the beavers, thank you, the beavers would, their coat would be prepping for the winter. So they were hunted for their fur. December, cold moon. Okay, this is the moon, that's the Yuletide moon. This is the start of the winter season, December 15. And on the 1st, that just passed, we had a new moon. on December 30th, there'll be another new moon. Now, if you have two moons of the same, it's called the black moon if it's in the new phase moon. If it's in the lunar phase, it's a blue moon. But it's a black moon on the 30th. A new moon is coming. And how much time do we have?
1 minute.
1 minute. I'll just tell you about the Geminid meteor showers. Okay, November 19th to December 24th. So around the 15th or so, the Geminid meteor showers are coming. 100 per hour. Go out on a clear night, you can see it. Look it up on the computer. Make sure, you don't have to look up at Gemini, but it's radiating from the constellation of Gemini. And that's it.
Yeah. So, I really want to wish our audience a very, very Merry Christmas and also Happy Hanukkah and joyful, joyful Kwanzaa. And I'm really looking forward to the new year. How about you, Pat?
This has been a rough year for everybody.
Yeah, has been. Yes,
we have to look forward. We have to
Yes.
look ahead. And hopefully everything will be okay.
It will. Thank you so much for tuning in again, and you can watch all the shows on YouTube.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, are you kidding? Thank you for coming again.
To be continued, right?
To be continued.
It
Always,
always is.
you're always welcome here, Pat.
thank you.
Very interesting. The combination of our discussion is always very interesting. I want to wish you all a beautiful, beautiful holiday. Many, 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 many blessings. Many blessings.
The candy cane. Be the candy cane.